Hey, welcome to the show, and today I want to introduce you to large format cameras. These cameras use sheet film, as I told you in a previous video, and this film comes in boxes like I showed you. It's shot in film holders. So a large format camera has an opening where the light comes through, has a space where the light travels, and then there's the plane where the film goes, which is where your film holder will go. So that's the basics for large format cameras. This, for example, is a pinhole camera, and all it has is a little pinhole which the light goes through it and has a little distance, and it exposes film on this plane. And then you have the large format cameras like this one, which is a studio camera. This camera has a lens, has a bellows, and it has a back where you introduce your film, just like the pinhole camera. This one has more features though. So this one has a lens, which doesn't always have to have a shutter on it. There's lenses that don't have a shutter, which you can use a hat or your dark slide, or you can use an external shutter. But these are modern lenses on modern shutters. So you have a lens with a shutter on a lens board. Then you have your bellows, which will allow you to focus closer or further away, depending on what you want. And then you have the back, which is where you insert your film holder. This one has a little spring, which helps you introduce the film holder so the glass doesn't suffer too much from introducing that film holder. So this, you just pop it open, introduce your film holder, close it, and that will apply some pressure and keep it light tight, and then you can expose your film. Apart from that, these cameras do have a lot more movements to them. You can move the lens up and down to control perspective. You can tilt the lens on its axis. You can also raise or drop the back standard, and you can also move and tilt the back. All these cameras have a lot of movements, and each one has a different specification, but these will offer the most movements of all large format cameras. You can also shift the back sideways, and then you can focus, as I told you, by moving just the bellows like that. And once you've got a rough focus, you can use a fine focus, which is this little wheel on the back. All these movements have usually locks in them. Some cameras don't have locks, like a CNAP. Those just, you go up and they stop by friction. They won't have any other problem. So large format cameras usually have lenses that you can change, which you just open, take your lens with your lens board off, and change the focal length to what you need, and you just pop it back in. These bellows are usually used for normal focal lengths or long focal lengths, but if you want to use a wide angle, like this wide angle for 4x5, you would use a bag bellows. Some cameras have the possibility of changing them, some don't. Now let me talk to you about the lenses. These lenses are pretty simple. They have two elements, the front and the back. Some lenses don't have both, depending on the design, but this one has front and back. You have a shutter, which has the aperture, which is 5.6 in this case, all the way to f64. And it has its speeds, as it says here. You can open your lens. You can see the different f-stops. It is wide open, and it is stopping it down all the way. You usually focus wide open, and then you close it to shoot. I forgot to mention that you do have a ground glass in the back of large format cameras that you use to compose and to focus your pictures. So these shutters are pretty simple to use. You open or close the shutter, you can cock the shutter, and then to shoot, you either use a cable release or you can just use your hand, as you see. That just will give you an accurate exposure every time you're shooting. Then we have things like a lens board adapter, which will adapt these Linhof type lens boards to a CNR kind of lens board. So this is just to not have to change your lens boards depending on different systems. Last, we have film holders. Each film holder will shoot a specific size. There's a 4x5, 4x10, and 8x10. These film holders shoot 2 shots per holder, and as you can see, this is a 4x5, and then all you have to do is introduce it to your large format camera in the back, pull out the dark slide, shoot, turn the dark slide to remind you that you shot it, push it back in, and you've shot. Loading and unloading your film has to always be done in the dark, either darkroom or a tent, because film will just get fogged with light if you try to do any of that in the light. So that's all I wanted to tell you to introduce you to large format cameras, and if you do have any questions, please leave a comment. I hope to see you in the next video.